don't you step out? Take that shit off your head, monkey!
Sure that black monkey would fuck you are!
Fucking Mother Earth, make sure I get my nut. And if she bleeds gold, they should crown me King Tut. Nat King Cole, King Solomon, these nuts. Patricia fucking oil, you get rich when I bust. Fucking Mother Earth, I'm starting to get dizzy. I made that bitch squirt and created the Mississippi River. My nigga took a trip to nigga.
What you looking at, Cracka?
What's your name, Cracka? Michael. What you doing, man?
Where I come from, this isn't the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you are, Cracka.
Welcome back. Be cool.
Dale.
Hey, how you doing, brother? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. Oh, man. I was just reading your bio off to the people who are coming in right now. Everybody has seen this trailer and they're so intrigued by everything. I'm intrigued. So I did a little intro, was talking about you before you jumped in. So I know you're busy with your schedule today. You've been doing interviews. So if you want to, we can just get this party started. What do you think?
Absolutely. Let's jump right into it.
Sounds good. Well, Dale, the film, the TV show, Cracka, just kind of break it down for me. So I'm going to ask questions here and there, but I'm going to let you talk and I'm going to listen.
Cool. Well, basically, the idea came to me after right around Charlottesville happened. Not the actual act of Charlottesville, but the what I call the seismic shift in radical white nationalistic, white supremacy, social media happenings in a way that I really never felt before. Having been married to a black woman, came for 25 years, and having really only dated outside my race, and having been locked up a couple of times in a much earlier part of my life, and dealing with black and brown culture a lot longer and a lot more in depth than my white peers and friends and family, I have a much better understanding of what it's like than them, which is a big reason why there's a large faction of white America that suffer from white blindness. I used to use the word ignorance, but that seems to be a very combative word. So I decided to not use the term blind, because they're blind to this, whether they say or defend themselves with my parents or my fathers never owned slaves, or I have black friends, or I listen to black music, or such and such and such. It doesn't matter. Like, you and I both know, like, doesn't even begin to cover how deep this goes, and to the extent of, I even have a production assistant. I was just doing a Charlie Wilson video in LA the day in Malibu, and my production assistant Ty, she'd seen the trailer for the first time with some of my other production crew, and she was floored. She was flipped. She goes, "This is incredible." And on the heels of that, the conversation started about George and Brianna and Ahmad and everybody, all these other unfortunate incidents. But she goes, "You know what? Everyone's been paid out except for us." She said, the Jews, the Indians, everybody, we ain't been paid out yet. And that's coming from a young 20-year-old black girl who's from California living in the world. And that's, that kind of hits it kind of right on the head with why and what, and the systemic racism. And you say the word systemic racism, at the second you say systemic and you say racism, white people get all flustered and confused, and they think it's a BLM, it's Antifa, all this other ignorance is out there. So a big reason why I created Cracka was, after Charlottesville and with the ramifications of that on social media, I said to myself, what would make these white people truly understand that racism and slavery is wrong? And even though you've read about it in history books and you've seen some movies about it, you would think people would be woke, but they're not. What about actually enslaving another human being? How hard is it for you to admit that that is wrong? It has been wrong. And that a race that we brought over here 401 years ago has never truly been free from that situation, how do you get past the conversation of rape still exists in this country? And you have to recognize it before you can actually start to address it. And that's where that crux happened. So I said, you know what? I let them see it through a new lens. So Cracka was born. It was your daughter. What if it was your sweetest pie mom, or your sister, your cousin, your brother, your uncle? What if you saw them being dehumanized? And that, sure enough, was the what resulted in our 30-minute proof of concept fire around the world, which I never expected to be that big, that fast. So why is because I wanted to let the people, by and large, see racism through a new lens to start the conversation.
Wow. Well, it's extremely powerful, and I believe right now it's over 1 million views. So it's just really, it's catching everyone's attention. I don't know if you heard me because I saw a little buffering. You still there, Dale? I think you still there, Dale? Are you still there? Dale, you still there? I lost. Let's see. He'll get his audio. You still there? Can you hear me? You can't hear me? Oh man, we got to make sure this picks up because it's coming back. Yeah, so he's getting his audio together. Can you hear me? Still can't hear? All right, cool. Now, yeah. I was just saying that your stream, I think over 1 million views. So we know this is catching everyone's attention. What are your plans for this project? And so if you can go ahead and share some more, because this is just amazing. And somebody's asking, they need to know the date, the release date, please. So this was the plan. So basically, I shot this proof of concept 30-minute pilot, right? Yes.
And knowing that people who aren't in the business will not only write a script, sometimes you shoot a concept for the student to see what it's like, so they can then comment on, yes, we want to invest in this. So I shot a 30-minute pilot. We started to have conversations with them in Hollywood and New York City and some around the world, and we were getting close to pulling some triggers on some of the best options right up and started. Yes. And I was like, wow, after this long journey, getting this close suddenly. So then it occurred to me, you know what, if we're going to be shut down for about 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 months, and everybody's going to be at home, having binge watched everything they would have normally watched, suddenly if they see a trailer or a poster or some artwork of a show called Cracka, they might click and watch. I felt, okay, people will, because I already know the built-in audience of this topic is cool. Go through the process of wanting to get your own project on Amazon or Crackle. There's a process, and you use a aggregator, which is basically a fancy word for a platform distributor, as opposed to traditional film distribution, TV distribution. So that you pay these licensed people to make sure that the content they're putting up on these different platforms are criteria that you need technically. So that's about a 45 to 60 day window to actually. We said, okay, yes, drop the trailer now, thinking it would take some time to build up an audience, build up the YouTube, build up the Instagram. But within 24 hours, we had already for one of my projects. And since then, we've been hit up by many networks and platforms to make it even bigger. So because it took off so quick, my partners and I will model. So we were being disruptive as the show itself. That one of my soundtrack contributors, David Sebastian, who's a rapper who has that song NKKKALA in the background of the trailer, he's, you know, he actually he signed into a big deal himself because he was able to sell a large number of direct downloads to his fans without using any major platforms like Spotify or iTunes. Just gave them a direct link. So we said, ooh, we could actually deliver this ourselves through Vimeo. So we're going to use Vimeo and send people who pay for their 30-minute long form to them directly, and then from there be able to show demand for this conversation to the network we're talking to. So basically, when they come back, let's just go and do a deal and not wait anymore. But what's happened, 90-second trailer being dropped, we've had about 10 different, hone it down to 2 or 3, that episode first season level with the second season option already triggered in. So we were going to drop it this week, but now that is on hold until we get this deal done. And there will be a big announcement that will follow once we have this deal done.
Well, let me congratulate you in advance. This is something that's needed. I, as a black man, love what I see, what you're doing. I love how you're using your art, because I believe that art needs to make people think.
You're an actor, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're SAG, right? How long you been SAG?
I actually just joined SAG last month.
Play.
Okay, can you hear me now? I lost you for a second again. But yeah, I just joined SAG last month.
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I've been see my card.
Not yet. Oh, okay. Yes.
Since 1995. Yes. You saw that?
That was a salute right there.
Okay, wait.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't rap, I don't rock, I paint, and so artists always get a pass for the creative license and being artistic. So it's a little ironic and unfair that as a filmmaker with an idea who puts forward something that challenges the status quo, that's truly meant to be empowering and to help change bad to good, that I get criticized from the minority left and the minority right, from those extreme factions that I've been challenged in the way that I have. Again, by and large, I mean, we've got something like 18,000 comments and over 1 million views in just a few on the YouTube. Then there's about 25 different video reviews or critics that have just literally reviewed the 90-second trailer and sparked all kinds of good conversation from whites and blacks and people in between. I've done a number of different news shows from conservative to more liberal, and I don't run away from. I'm fearless in not only the way I approach life, but also my passion for what I do. Nobody can tell me anything about racism that nobody doesn't already know. And regarding racism, when I get some kickback from some white people or even some black people, will want to comment, why? It's like, well, why not? Clearly, nothing up until the year 2020 has worked. I mean, we're more broken out on solving racism. There's not one doctorate, not one professor, not one. A project that lets people see racism through a scientific, from a sci-fi new version. People see characters evolve in a way that they've not seen them before. So it's like, you know, and this is nothing new. I mean, I'm not the first filmmaker to ever do this, or the first one. It's been done many times. Just of this extreme situation with horrors that have gone on towards the black community for decades and hundreds of years that people about it.
Well, it's really refreshing. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, it's really refreshing to me. Yeah. It made me think of an old movie with John Travolta, and I bet you know the name of it, White Man's Burden.
Oh yeah, Burden. Yeah.
Yeah, it made me think of that.
Yeah, but you see, here's the thing. So
yes,
I was asked earlier, or a couple of times, why does it have to be called Cracka, and why does the rape have to be so brutal? First of all, of the 90 seconds, that rape scene is about maybe 6 seconds.
Yeah.
And how was it brutal when there's no nudity, there's no blood, there's no violence in that scene, except it's a very tame by comparison of what we've all seen in more traditional Hollywood-produced, slave-driven projects, whether it's 12 Years a Slave or Roots or anything, Django, anything in between. How was my 90 anywhere near compared to the violence that you see being done to black people in those films? Where's the outrage about those films? Why just my 90-second trailer? Because I just flip it, and there's like I don't understand that. And why does it have to be the black raping the white woman? Well, first of all, why is it okay for a white man to be raping the black woman? I mean, the black woman. Why is that okay? Why does that not go questioned? Why does this get questioned?
Right.
That in itself is screwed up. And I also make a point. I made a Facebook post the other day because I was getting a lot of death threats and through email and through voicemail and through social media from the extreme right, from all these white nationalists, white supremacists. It's like, okay, shut up. I mean, leave your voicemail, make your post from your ghost account, be cowards, all that kind of stuff. Being asked the question, why does it have to be so polarizing? You can't walk down the middle and try to be safe. And it's story. I'm not going to the whole season, but like in any series, you have your bad guys and your good guys. You got your friends in between. You got the people who come and help the situation. So for all anybody knows, that one scene from that one main character played by an amazing actor named Hakeem Kai Kazim, who's been in many big films from Nigeria and London, who gave you the
pause. Yeah.
So before Hakeem took the role of Dex, he wanted to hear, and then decided to come on board because he knew it was coming from a good place.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Listen, as big as you think this is going to be in America, this is going to be even bigger in Africa." And
really?
Now I understand the accolades I'm getting are from people who from other continents truly understand what this is all about.
Now, man, I have a question as far as like with putting the project together. We all have writers' rooms when a show is being put together or film. Like, share with us what your writers' room looks like and how did it come together?
Is there a delay?
Yeah, there's a little delay. So, are you connected to Wi-Fi right now?
Be nicer outside than inside the office. Is it?
You got me? Okay. Yeah, we still can't hear.
I went to Wi-Fi and it's like.
Yeah. Okay, he left again. He'll be back. We were just talking about
turn the TV.
View the trailer and stuff like that.
Yeah,
okay. Oh, now I can hear you really good. Okay. You got me? Okay, the audio, we still can't hear you. Let's see. Oh, sounds like it. We're going to work through this. Because this is some good stuff here. Did it connect?
Maybe this is the best solution. How's this?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you really well. You can hear me as well?
Can you hear me?
You can hear me too?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Yeah, we were talking about
Yes,
the writer's room and how you assembled the writer's room, and there were some questions that came in for you as well. So after you talk about that, I'm going to throw some of the questions at you that came up.
Okay, sure. So how this was originally constructed was as a short film. And I was going to use that short film as a vehicle, as what they call a backdoor pilot. So it was myself and a writing partner named Kevin Young, who I have started a few projects with. Kevin's Black. He's married to a white woman. He's based out of California. Him and I, after I had the initial treatment done, we knocked out a few different versions of this. And believe it or not, the origins of this was actually stemming from a biopic I was working on for a famous runaway slave named Crispus Attucks, whose story I know so well because he's actually from my hometown of Massachusetts. So we're already in that zone of this universe,
Yes.
and so it was kind of an easy flip to then shift gears and get really into something a little bit more divisive, as opposed to something more of a traditional story. And he's personal to me because not a lot of people know the origins of the story and why hasn't his story been told yet. So that will be done down the road. So Kevin and I started working on Cracka, and ultimately we got to set to film it with, very humble budget, under $100,000, enough to do 7 days of. Anybody that looks at it feels it's much more high in production value, yes, because of, and I attribute that to just the experience I've had making over 1,000 music videos and knowing the craft.
Yes.
So what we've done since is on the heels of the success of this, and knowing that this is going to go episodic and funded to the level that it needs to be funded at, I've got Kevin, and I've got another woman, Black female writer, that will be on my team, and then we have some people that will contribute to story. Some people I mentioned to you before that will be involved. So there'll certainly be the right coalition in support of Black, brown, and white people that will help get this story, which is basically, on its face, it's a fantasy drama action world, not so unlike TV shows like Outlander or Lost,
yeah,
that utilize science fiction and different periods, time travel. So I've got a great team that will be working with me on telling these stories and building out the world. Unlike shows like Game of Thrones, which has already got an existing world built out through a series of books that have been read around the world, Cracka doesn't have the world. Well, we have the world now built out, but as we work through it with this new network that we're going to be working with, the arc for up to 3 seasons is already starting to be worked on now. So it'll be fun. It'll be exciting, dabbling with real history, real human progress, real humanity, both and dealing with the dark side of humanity as well.
Oh wow. I just love the direction you're taking with this. And you said you originally had planned for 8 episodes. Is that what the plan is for?
Yeah. 8 episodes first season, 8 episodes second and third seasons.
Okay, maybe a 4th or 5th.
Listen, there's a number of high-ranking Hollywood people that say, "Though this can be as big as Game of Thrones, this is going to be as big as Lost," and that's always how I envision it. Again, without giving it away, I certainly take it there from the creative standpoint. And again, so racism is the hook to this, and helping people see racism through a new lens. But how we get there, it needs to be entertaining. You want people to tune in, so you need to have all those bells and whistles and hooks and story components that people like to see in hit TV shows. And the other thing is, this or that, I'm like, critics over decades have always said that some of the biggest TV shows and films reflect what's going on in that time. And truly, we couldn't think of a better time that's a show like Cracka could ever exist, because it truly is putting a mirror on what's happening right now. Yeah. And a lot of people don't want to see it, but more than a lot of people do. So I'm not gonna be shy about my aspirations of what I want the show to achieve. I want this to be considered for Emmy, and Emmys on all fronts, because I think that the subject matter is worthy, and I think that the team we have assembled are more than worthy of being put under that spotlight. So again, we shall see. It's going to be a nice ride and fun ride, and I'm sure you guys will be kept up to speed. and we look forward to that.
Now, how can people stay connected with it? I know it's being posted. Some of your team is in the call right now, so they're posting it right now too. But if you want to just share it real quick again, as people are watching, they can remember.
Sure. Well, we have a website called crackaworld.com, CRACKAWORLD. You can also visit Cracka World at Twitter and at Facebook. And what we did, one of the strategic things that Lorenzo Antonucci, one of my producers and who also stars in the pilot that you have, he said, listen, Dale, you're verified, and to build a page from scratch won't look right. So let's use your page with your 30,000 followers and build from there. So I'm like, sure. So you can go to Real Rage, REELRAGE, to get more updates as well. So Real Rage for Instagram. We have Cracka World at Instagram, which is just starting out. So definitely feel free to go there and follow us there, because eventually I want to be able to have my Instagram page be my Instagram page for all my other stuff, not just Cracka. But for now, certainly it's being used to the best of its ability with my entire social media team, which is all my PR people in LA, from Alicia to Rashida to Jay Tasha, and here on the east side, Litzia Rotundo and my wife Kim.
Yes.
So we have a fantastic team, and it was my Black and Brown coalition of PR team out there that said, listen, we need to drop this on Juneteenth. So, and not a lot of people know that I have a very large coalition of Black and Brown people on my side. I even have a lot of support from people like Sabrina Fulton, Gwen Garner, the PR rep that represents the Central Park 5, who also support the project. Piper Dellums was one of my producers. Piper Dellums' dad was Ron Dellums, who was a 30-year congressman of the Bay Area who helped end apartheid and freed Mandela, as well as many top people in Hollywood and the music business and whatnot that are Black and Brown. So, and again, those who know me and my wife Kim, they know that we come from a good place. There is no ulterior motive here. Yes, it's commerce. Yes, it's entertainment. That's what we do. But yes, it's also delivering a message that is hopefully going to open up some eyes to some white people that are offended by seeing a white woman being raped, but are not offended over seeing Black women being raped.
You gave me the chills with just how you just broke down how this stuff come together and everybody's rallying around it. My wife, who's actually in the call too, she has a question. She says, how will you balance heaviness and seriousness with some times of relief, humor and stuff like that? Are you going to have that included as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at some of the best shows that it's going to be on the level of every show that has been successful. I mean, I attain to have this show be regarded with many of the top shows that we've come to know over time. So you're not going to achieve that by being completely evil and always having the heavy hand. So there'll be some bad guys that will be outnumbered by some good guys, and vice versa. So in terms of how the story's played out over 8 episodes, we're going to see that arc for our antagonist, who is initially the white supremacist, who has been raised to believe that anything other than white are subhuman or are ignorant, and he only sees them in that manner. And so having him now be put in that position where he's the minority, considered to be subhuman and ignorant, that is going to be a parallel that is just, going to have so many people like, it seems like it shouldn't be that hard. I am blown away at how aloof white people are over this whole systemic racism conversation.
Yes.
I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I can't write code. I don't know how to change spark plugs. Outside of being artistic and solving problems in chaos on set, I like to landscape. So, those are my skills, so I don't by any means feel or think I'm superior than anybody else. I just happen to have a knack for directing and telling stories. And this story is one of many that I have in development and have done in the past and will continue to do. But this particular story is the most important from a human standpoint, and one that America needs to see. Clearly, having been told by so many of my Black and Brown friends that, they suffer from racism, but nearly all of my white friends and family say racism doesn't exist. Clearly there's some confusion.
Yes.
So I needed to be heavy-handed with the title. I needed to be heavy-handed with the visuals. You can't try to show something's wrong on one hand and say it's wrong and try to prove it's wrong without showing how wrong it is. So yes, you need to see the black man who is taking the place of the white man who's doing the rape. You need to see that. If you don't, then you start to lose ground and lose your argument. So again, that's one character. There are many characters in Cracka, many characters that are good, many characters. Listen, we're gonna have love scenes. We're gonna have scenes dealing with politics. Many of the conversations and scenes that you've seen in 12 Years a Slave and Django, in Roots, and all these other films that have delved into racism, you're gonna see in Cracka. It's just seeing it balanced out by seeing the roles reversed.
Man, a good friend of mine, an incredible actress, her name is Ricky Yvette Westmoreland. She has a question. She said, Hollywood is typically highly uninformed regarding these issues and nuance and sending out the wrong messages like they didn't hear you. She said, how are you addressing Hollywood and not allowing them to change your story, like keeping them back from influencing too much?
Sure. Well, fortunately, even though we have some traditional studios talking to us, we have a number of studios that are not of Hollywood's DNA and who are independently financed that are showing a lot of support and wanting to do this project with us. So having that autonomy to be able to do it the way I know it needs to be done, in conjunction with having black and brown writers with me in the room, will ensure that this is delivered in the way it needs to be delivered. And I don't consider that to be okay, I'm having to cater the message. I just need to be sensitive to the message without it getting lost.
Yes.
So I know that the balance will be there, and I'm sure before we even roll it out on this level, there'll be a number of strategic PR moments and screenings that will let everybody know, okay, this was done with the right team, delivering the right message. Yes, it's entertainment. Yeah. Yes, it's action, it's adventure, it's science fiction, it's love, it's time travel. But in there is the message that I'm trying to deliver, which, okay, racism does exist, and if it's ever going to be fixed, we need to address it. And having conversations earlier today with some of my peers, everybody is blown away at just how robust the negative conversation has been, how many death threats I've received and attacks that we've received. And people, they weren't ready for that. Everybody truly felt that, okay, racism's a thing. We have BLM, all lives matter, blue lives matter. All that is just a recipe of a Molotov cocktail that's ready to explode. And sure enough, I mean, what's happening right now.
Yes. And
because it's the perfect storm of not only all of these unarmed black men and women getting killed, but if the world was in a better place and everybody had jobs to go to and they weren't stuck at home and being able to march, this conversation wouldn't be where it's at right now. Yeah. There's a higher power as to why this is happening right now and how it's happening. There is just no other reason, no other time in history has this many people been at home needing someplace to go. Yeah. And you give them a cause to fight for, you have no place else to go. They're going to fight for that cause. Yes. And the reaction has just been astounding. So, and I got many friends in the movement. I participate as much as I can in marches, and I support everything I can with my coalition of people who are on board the Cracka team. And so we're excited about now that we've got the response that it garnered around the world, that we're in a position to do a deal that lets this story be told the right way. Because one of my biggest fears was just getting a 30-minute piece out there and getting close but not over the finish line. Yeah. But now we're clearly going to be able to go over that touchdown and be able to do a full season that will lead to season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And who's to say where it's going to go? Yeah. But clearly there's no shortage of content and history to delve into and use as influence, because we have 401 years of absolute derogatory, dehumanizing situations to use. How many stories have not been told. The conversation about, well, before there were cameras, what happened? No, I'm not just talking about in the 80s and 70s and 60s and 50s. What about in 1722? Who's to say that famous president or senator weren't completely somebody we don't know about because there were no cameras? So there's so much history to delve into and use as some story points. So yeah, that's going to be an exciting time being in the writers' room with the writers.
Man, I just appreciate it so much because I've been profiled 7 times in my life, and just last year, LAPD, they nearly shot me. So, for no reason. So, I am just like glad that this discussion has gone to this level, because for too long people have tried to act like this is not an issue anymore, and I'm like, what world do you live in? So I was like, my entire life. Go ahead.
And another point I recently made, again, because some of the obvious, sometimes it takes a minute for it to actually come to the point where you can articulate the obvious. I've been attacked, been called a scum, been called all kinds of other names from white women from ages 20 to 90. And it blows my mind the sort of rhetoric that they would use towards me when all I am is a filmmaker telling a story, which is a fantasy world. And all anybody has seen is 90 seconds of an alternate history, of an alternate world. Yeah. These same people, I try not to get baited into who this person is or why this person said that, but sometimes I'll just do a quick scan. Okay, this person's Facebook page, and I'll see, okay, this makes sense. This makes sense. Nowhere on that page is anything BLM, nowhere supportive of anything black, anything brown. It's, I don't want to say names, but it's always this side of things. So these same people, all these white and white men, the neo-Nazi types, the Confederate flag, branding types, these people are so upset over a are they that over 526 seconds of George Floyd getting murdered live in front of them on a phone? Yeah. Like, where is that outrage? They're not outraged about a real life murder of a human being, but they're outraged about a 90-second fantasy world. What does that tell you?
It tells you that we got a ways to go. It tells me that definitely. We got like 5 minutes left. I'm gonna throw this last question out, and then I want to just get some more closing comments from you. This has been so good. Are you gonna include historians or any other scholars with regard to writing episodes and planning out the seasons?
Yeah. So I'm gonna have my co-writers, but there'll be story points that I'm certainly gonna draw on from people that know history a lot more than I do. And again, this isn't just going to be about race from a creative standpoint. Race is the vehicle, but I need to use good storytelling and proper history to be able to, and great actors,
yes,
to be able to get this across the finish line so people can truly appreciate it, not just as for the topic of conversation about racism and getting it to that next level,
yes,
where people identify what racism actually is, but also as a show so it can continue to live for a number of seasons.
Yes. I think it just froze. You still there, Dale? Okay. I have another question too. If other actors want to try to get their agents to get in touch with you, what are you using? What casting company are you using? Because if you're going to have other seasons, there's a number of actors I know who are in here. So I just thought I would ask that question. So.
Sure. Oh, no, and I love that. We could have a whole 3-hour conversation about my world as an actor, all the different casting directors I know, all the different actors I know that have been in many different TV shows and films. And so, and that's a whole other world into itself that we could have a conversation about how I got here as a filmmaker, utilizing a lot of my actor friends. So what they should do, because we haven't decided on a casting director just yet, but it'll be somebody that you know, and most people in the industry will know.
Yes.
Go to the Cracka World Instagram, where Alicia manages it, and just have them establish a profile. Say, listen, for future consideration for casting, I am such and such, and have them include their information, and she'll guide them to who she needs to go to at that point in time.
That's beautiful right there. That answers a lot of questions. Somebody else, I think Ricky, because Ricky is an advocate, the ADOS movement, African descendants of slavery. She's big into the movement, and she talked about reparations. Will that be addressed at all in this series? Talking about that?
I know it has to be.
Yeah.
And so since we're into the Bible sequence, we haven't delved into the actual page to page just yet.
Yeah.
But that's certainly going to be something that gets handled. Again, it needs to be handled the right way. I'm also utilizing a nice little for some flashbacks as well. So our lead character, who is a white supremacist, who's also a former, we're going to end certain episodes that put him into seeing. So there's going to be a lot of cutting back and forth times and showing his family. And then ultimately again, I don't want to give it away, but there'll be an amazing moment where I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to go too much further into that. But certainly reparations will be addressed in some form or fashion, but being done in the way that it needs to be done.
All right. Well, Dale, I always give my guests 30 seconds to close this out, and then I'll just give three little words I always say. But I want to give you 30 seconds to just share your heart with everything. You've been pouring it out for the last 45 minutes. I know you're tired. You got interview after interview. And thank you once again for being on my show. It really means a lot to me. So I'm gonna let you just share, give us 30 seconds and to just, really, to carry us, through this whole.
Sure. Well, again, thank you for having me. I didn't know what your perception might be of me, because a lot of times people just see a trailer, they see they Google a name, they see a white guy, and they just start to draw their own conclusions, which leads to going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole, when a conversation like this simply just kind of like levels the playing field and disarms everybody. I'm not some radical guy that's trying to start a race war. I'm trying to help stop a race war. So in the end, I'm a filmmaker, I'm an artist like anybody else that has a job, that has a passion. Yeah. And because I've been so close to the Black community for much of my life, I am aware of things that 90% of all white people can't begin to understand. Yes. They're educated, they may be smart, they may have good jobs, they may have Black and brown friends, they may listen to Black and brown music, but they truly do not understand why the anger, why the rage, and when they're being persecuted for why are they looting and why they did. Again, you don't understand. This is not just about now. You just don't get it. So I hope that Cracka, seeing them in their own skin, suffering at the hands of somebody who they would normally see being the ones suffering, I feel like this is truly a moment in time that can start to for us. It's a moment in time where we can start the healing process through conversation. I don't have all the answers. Yeah. Again, I said before, there's no merit badge. There's no verification for, okay, this person is a race healer. But I feel that this project is something that can start the conversation, and people that are better than me can help bring us together.
Man, Dale, thank you so much. Everyone who has been watching and who will watch this, make sure you go to Cracka World on TikTok, Cracka World on YouTube, Cracka World on Instagram. Connect, follow, let's support this movement. I believe it's going to be life-changing. It's inspiring already for myself. I want to thank my guest, my very special guest, Dale, for coming on and just sharing at Real Rage. Follow at Real Rage. Make sure you follow on IG at Real Rage. Stay connected with my man.
Thank you.
Stay connected with my man.
Thank you, brother.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And you have been watching RDC Speak Life Sessions. Follow on Spotify, Apple, all the different podcasts, and you'll be able to watch this on my YouTube, Rodney Damon Collins TV. Dale had to go. Remember, I will see you very soon. Thank you very much for being a part of it. Take care.